Dear Leo soul, if you've been sensing a shift in the air, a whisper from the universe, a silent pull towards something greater, you're not imagining it. This isn't a coincidence. This Wednesday, September 3, 2025 is no ordinary day. 3 life-changing good news are heading your way, and they're aligned to awaken your money, your love, and your divine purpose. You didn't arrive here by chance. You were guided. The video you're watching now is not entertainment. It's a message. A cosmic nudge. A spiritual appointment written in the stars and signed in light. You are not just watching. You are remembering. This week, the heavens are opening a portal of transformation, and Leo, you stand at the center of it. A rare astrological alignment is pointing its energy straight at you, specifically designed to reward your inner fire, your loyalty to growth, and your courage to keep going when no one else understood your journey. This is your Wednesday. This is your portal. This is your invitation. But let me ask you this, have you ever felt like your effort was unseen? Like you gave so much and received so little in return? That your heart was open, but the world kept handing you silence? The universe noticed. And now it is responding with 3 messages so clear, so divinely timed, that your entire path may pivot from this one moment. The first blessing is financial more than money. It's the return of your confidence in your ability to create, attract, and lead. The second is love, pure, reciprocal, elevating. The third is spiritual, your soul contract is being reactivated. You are not who you used to be. And on September 3rd, the world begins to see that. So take a deep breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. Ground yourself. What you're about to hear is not for the faint of heart. It's for the brave, the bold, the chosen. Leo, this is the turning point. And the fact that you're here now, listening, proves you are ready to receive. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Your presence here, your trust, your openness, it matters more than you know. Every like, every comment, every subscription is not just support, it's alignment. It's energy. It's faith in action. And it's what allows this channel, Eternal Mindfulness, to continue being a lighthouse for souls like yours, those navigating through storms with the quiet certainty that the sun will rise again. So I invite you now to do something simple, but powerful. Comment below, I'm ready to receive the 3 good news meant for me. Let this be your energetic signature. Your declaration to the universe that you are open, willing, and aligned. And trust me with me until the very end of this message. Because what the universe is revealing next is not only breathtaking. It may explain why so much had to break before you finally bloom. Now tell me, what called you here today, Leo? What have you done, endured, or quietly prayed for that led your spirit straight to this message? Whatever it is, I believe this is your confirmation. And you're going to want to hear everything that comes next. Leo, you felt it, haven't you? That quiet shift in the air. That stirring in your chest. That inner knowing that something bigger is unfolding, and you're being gently pulled toward it. You didn't imagine it. This is the cosmic truth pressing into your soul right now. The universe, vast and intelligent, has timed this moment perfectly, and September 3rd isn't just another date, it's a celestial alignment crafted specifically to awaken your deepest essence and illuminate the next step of your path. There's a reason you're hearing this. Not as a warning, but as a remembrance. Because while others may move through life asleep, you Leo have always carried a flicker of awareness, a sense that your life holds a purpose too bright to be ignored. And now, the sky is answering. On this day, Jupiter forms a trine to the North Node, one of the most spiritually potent alignments we experience. It's like heaven draws a line through the stars and says, "Follow this." The North Node doesn't just whisper about fate, it maps your soul's evolution. And when Jupiter, the planet of expansion, optimism, and divine wisdom, wraps itself harmoniously around that axis of destiny, you don't just find direction, you find elevation. What this means for you is nothing less than a full recalibration of your path. The fog clears. The crossroads no longer feel confusing. What once seemed impossible now feels inevitable. You can almost hear the echo, "This is the way." But this alignment doesn't force you, it invites. And here lies the beauty. You get to choose whether to walk through the open gate or stay behind in what is familiar but fading. Meanwhile, the sun continues to hold space for both your logic and your longing. This is the quiet miracle of this moment, the balance of mind and heart. Your decisions now won't be impulsive or emotionally erratic. They'll be rooted, clear, true. You'll begin to sense what is real and what's simply noise. You'll notice how peace returns when you stop chasing approval and instead stand fully inside your knowing. You don't need to explain your light to anyone right now. You just need to let it shine. And Venus, goddess of love, attraction, and inner worth, is still in your sign. She is not simply making you more magnetic to others, helping you recognize how magnetic you already are. There's a sacred invitation here to finally relax into your own radiance. To stop striving. To stop reaching. To stop performing. You are not here to convince the world you are worthy. You are here to remember that your presence is the proof. Imagine, if you will, a golden gate hovering in the sky. It glows with warmth, power, and promise. The air hums with anticipation. And there's only one name inscribed on the invitation to walk through, yours. This is not metaphor, it's an energetic reality. The universe is not teasing you. It's ushering you forward. But it won't push. It will wait. Because free will is the greatest honor you've been given. This is the moment where therapy meets prophecy. Where ancient astrology and modern self-healing come together. Because while the stars declare the season, it is your readiness that unlocks the blessing. Just as faith in difficult times plants the seed of breakthrough, your willingness to rise today activates the next season of abundance. There is no rush. No pressure. Only promise. And so I ask you, are you willing to see yourself the way the universe already sees you? As whole. As chosen. As enough. Not someday. Not after you've earned it. But now. Just as you are. Write it in the comments. Let the energy take shape. I walk through the golden gate prepared for me. Because sometimes, the most powerful rituals begin with a single sentence of belief. And when spoken with heart, those words move mountains, even the ones we've built inside ourselves. Leo, when you stand at the threshold of a new season like this, it's easy to assume that the transformation must come from some massive event, a job change, a whirlwind romance, a sudden financial breakthrough. But true transformation rarely screams. It whispers. And the whisper you're feeling on September 3rd is not about upheaval. It's about realignment. It's about the quiet but powerful moment when you realize that the life you've been striving to create has already begun to bloom under your feet, and now it's time to step into it without resistance. Jupiter's trine to the North Node isn't just a cosmic alignment. It's an energetic confirmation that the next chapter of your purpose isn't ahead of you, it's already rising from within you. In astrology, the North Node represents the direction of our soul's growth. Jupiter, the planet of wisdom and expansion, doesn't just open doors. It opens perspectives. It brings meaning to your moments and magnifies what you are ready to embrace. This alignment reminds us that faith in what we cannot see yet is the bridge between where we are and where we're called to go. And that's not just astrological, it's universal truth echoed in every spiritual tradition, every healing modality, every act of personal transformation. You may feel called to pivot in your career, to reconnect with a dream you buried years ago, or to open your heart again after a season of guarded silence. These nudges are not random. They are proof that your inner compass is being magnetized by something larger than your fear. The truth is, nothing is missing from you. The only thing that's been missing is your willingness to see that the gate isn't locked, it's just been waiting for your courage to turn the handle. The sun's influence now is also crucial. Its balanced aspect supports a rare kind of clarity, that kind that brings both insight and confidence. It's like walking into a room filled with sunlight after years of dimness. You don't need to squint anymore. You can see your life clearly, and more importantly, you can see yourself clearly. And that clarity is not just visual, it's emotional. For the first time in a long time, you may feel safe to let go of what hasn't worked, to grieve without shame, and to allow healing to happen without apology. This is where emotional therapy and energetic astrology meet, in the willingness to be honest with your own heart. Venus, still radiating from your sign, is your reminder that beauty does not need permission to exist. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to justify peace. You don't have to prove your worth by being useful to everyone else. Sometimes, your power lies in your ability to pause, to receive, to acknowledge that your presence itself is healing, especially when you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. This is how attraction really works. Not by trying to be magnetic, but by becoming deeply anchored in who you already are. This is the law of attraction at its most misunderstood. You don't attract what you fake, you attract what you embody. When you embody clarity, the right decisions find you. When you embody peace, the right people stay. When you embody trust, the right timing unfolds. So, dear Leo, I invite you to pause here with minute in hesitation, but in reverence. Let this be the sacred breath between your exhale of doubt and your inhale of destiny. Write this in the comments if it speaks to your heart. I'm ready to rise in alignment with who I truly am. Not as a chant, not as an affirmation, but as a gentle agreement between you and your own soul. Because sometimes, the most important shift happens not when you change the world, but when you decide to stop running from the part of yourself that was born to lead it. Love, for many, is often misunderstood as something external, something to chase, to earn, or to fear losing. But when the stars begin to whisper through the movement of Venus, especially while she resides in Leo, we're reminded that love is not a destination, but a remembering. A returning. A realignment with the part of ourselves that already knows we are worthy of deep connection. And on September 3rd, under the warmth of a rare energetic harmony, this remembering becomes a living, breathing presence. It's no longer just a concept, it's an invitation. You may have noticed lately that your heart feels more exposed, your emotions more tender, and your desire for meaningful connection more pronounced. That's not weakness, it's wisdom surfacing. It's your body and spirit recognizing that the games no longer serve you, that surface-level exchanges no longer satisfy. Because true love doesn't begin in perfection, it begins in permission. Permission to be seen, to be held, to be fully felt in your softness as well as your strength. And Leo, you've carried both for far too long without anyone truly acknowledging the weight of it. This phase of your journey isn't asking you to fall in love the way the world taught you. It's asking you to fall in love the way your soul remembers. Not with drama, or conditions, or roles to play, but with resonance. With truth. With the electric stillness you feel when someone finally meets you at your depth. That's the frequency opening up for you now. Venus isn't here to throw glitter over illusions, she's here to polish what's already golden in you so it can be mirrored back through connection. If you're single, this energy may first arrive as a whisper, a passing glance, a vivid dream, a sudden sense that someone's heart is brushing up against yours through space and time. You don't need to force this meeting. Love on this level doesn't need pushing, it only needs welcoming. For those already in a relationship, especially one that's grown tired or strained, this is your window of grace. The skies are softening enough for both of you to speak what's been unspoken. To forgive, not because you've forgotten, but because your hearts remember what you were building before pain got in the way. And if what you seek is not romantic at all, but a reconnection with friends, family, or even yourself, that too is love. That too is sacred. This moment is asking you to reimagine love as a verb, not something that simply happens to you, but something you become in practice. In daily devotion. In little acts of courage that say, I choose to show up again, softer but stronger. It could be as simple as writing a letter you never send, just to release the story that no longer belongs to this version of you. Or practicing gratitude each morning, not for what is perfect, but for what is present. Imagine a fire that once blazed between you and someone now lost in memory. That fire may have dimmed, but it was never fully extinguished. And now, the breath of the cosmos is stirring its embers, not to reignite what was, but to warm what could be. Not every flame is meant to return in its old form, some return only to light a new path forward. So pause here, Leo, and ask yourself gently, who or what is calling your heart back home? Whose name rises in your mind when you allow yourself to hope again? If someone does come to mind, even if it surprises you, honor it. And if you feel safe to do so, share the first letter of their name in the comments below. Let this act be not just engagement but a ritual. A quiet gesture of trust in what the universe may be guiding you toward. Because when it comes to love that heals, that revives, that transcends the old versions of ourselves, sometimes all it takes is one brave whisper, one softened heart, and one open door. There comes a moment in every Leo's journey when the fire within no longer burns just to be seen, it begins to burn to lead. To warm. To light the path for others. This moment, dear soul, is not marked by applause or recognition, but by quiet clarity. A soft yet undeniable knowing that your life is no longer about proving your worth. It's about embodying it. And the energy surrounding September 3rd is offering you just that, the sacred turning point where your identity shifts from seeking light to becoming it. This phase of awakening isn't about climbing toward external success as a way to validate your inner fire. It's about realizing that the gold within you, the vision, the wisdom, the presence was never meant to be hoarded. It was meant to be shared. There's a kind of sacred authority emerging in you now. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that earns trust. And when the sun card appears in the energetic field, as it does now, it calls not just for clarity, but for radiant self-honesty. It doesn't ask you to become more. It invites you to remove the masks that hide the brilliance you already are. Perhaps you've noticed strange dreams lately, symbols like golden gates, crowns, fire, lions. These aren't random. In astrology, the subconscious often becomes the first channel through which divine purpose begins to whisper. If you're dreaming of flames, it's not destruction, it's activation. If you're seeing doors, it's not about what's locked, it's about what you're finally ready to walk through. And if you've been feeling a gentle but constant nudge to share your voice, your insight, your truth in some form, writing, speaking, creating, letting, that's not coincidence. That's alignment. This moment isn't about being given a spotlight. It's about realizing you are the flame others gather around. You don't have to speak loudly. You only have to speak truthfully. One of the most powerful self-leadership practices you can begin right now is simply this: record your own voice every morning, even if it's just one sentence. Let it be a wish, a prayer, a reminder. Something like, "I choose to live as the light I am." When you hear your voice affirming your path, your nervous system begins to remember safety and authenticity. And safety in self-expression is what makes long-term purpose sustainable. You may also feel called to create something that lives beyond you: words, images, movements, even ideas that reflect not just who you are, but who you are becoming. That urge to share, to contribute, to lift and ignore it. Purpose is not always found in monumental success, but in the small daily courage to express your light in a darkening world. When you do, you give others silent permission to do the same. So I invite you, right here, right now, to take a sacred breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. Gently close your eyes and whisper, "I am the light that expands through love." Hold that feeling in your heart for 10 seconds. Then, if it resonates with you, write this in the comments: "I am ready to step into my purpose." Let those words be your declaration to the universe, not a shout for attention, but a vow to live aligned. Because Leo, this season isn't about seeking the crown, it's about remembering you were born wearing one. The world doesn't need another superstar. It needs a soul who knows that their radiance is not about elevation, but illumination. You are not here to shine alone. You are here to light the way. And the path forward? It begins the moment you believe you are already enough to walk it. When the cosmic winds begin to shift, they don't just move around the stars above, they move through the spaces we inhabit every day: our bodies, our work, our relationships, our thoughts. And after all the inner transformation, the emotional healing, and the spiritual invitations you've received throughout this week, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is the moment where your celestial insight needs to become earthly action. It's not enough to know that energy is changing. You are now being asked to live like it already has. Your physical body, this sacred vessel that carries your soul through time, is one of the most immediate mirrors of your alignment. When Leo energy is strong, it can often run hot: urgency, adrenaline, intensity. But your power doesn't lie in constant ignition. It lies in intentional regulation. That's why beginning each morning with something as simple as the 4-7-8 Brea, the cycle of inhale, hold, and exhale, can recalibrate your entire field. It's a way to say, I'm safe to rise. I don't have to rush to be radiant. Pair this with foods that nourish your root chakras and golds from nature's palette, and you begin to feed the fire within in a way that sustains, rather than burns. Financially and professionally, this is the season where you are not being asked to work harder. You are being called to work wiser. The old paradigm of pushing until you're depleted is falling away. And in its place, a new model where you identify the one skill, the one insight, or the one idea that can compound your value. Not because you need to prove your worth, but because you're finally ready to structure your brilliance. Look at your calendar. What are you giving your best energy to? If it doesn't nourish your future, it may be draining your present. Your mission isn't to do more. It's to do less, with more alignment. Love, too, calls for your courage, your signature Leo trait. But true Leo love isn't loud or controlling. It's bold in its openness, daring in its authenticity, generous in its compassion. This is the time to return to love, not as a battlefield but as a sacred space. Allow others the freedom to meet you without fear of your fire. And if they can't, let that be information, not judgment. The most healing love is not always the most intense. Sometimes, it's the most respectful. It gives room. It breathes. It grows without force. As you begin to integrate these cosmic messages into your daily life, remember, consistency is more powerful than bursts of effort. The magic isn't in the dramatic decision. It's in the small, sacred habits that anchor your transformation in the real world. One deep breath before a conversation. One nourishing choice at a meal. One boundary honored at work. One moment of listening instead of reacting in love. These are the practices that make you magnetic, not just to others, but to your highest self. So if you've been waiting for a sign to change your lifestyle, to elevate your choices, or to start showing up like the version of you that your soul has been calling in, his is it. You already have the wisdom. Now you have the clarity. What's left is the action. And not from pressure but from grace. Your energy is sacred. Your time is precious. And your alignment is the most powerful investment you'll ever make. If you feel that this message touched something real inside you, I invite you to reflect in the comments. What is one practical change you're ready to commit to starting today? Share it. Anchor it. Declare it. Because when intention becomes action, miracles become normal. And this, dear Leo, is where your light begins to shape the world around you, one grounded step at a time. Leo, if you've made it to this moment, it means something deep within you is ready. Ready to remember, ready to rise, ready to reclaim the life you've always known you were meant to live. The three good news that we've explored together today: financial opportunity, soulful connection, and awakened destiny are not promises floating somewhere out in the distance. They are already orbiting your energy field, waiting to be accepted, activated, and embodied. And the beautiful truth is this: you hold the power to invite them in. You weren't born to shrink, to be invisible, or to simply survive. You were born to radiate with purpose, to walk like the light that you are, to inspire simply by being honest about your journey. You've carried enough. You've endured enough. Now is the time to allow what is meant for you to find you, but not by waiting passively. By choosing actively. Because energy responds to decision. And every step you take after this video can either echo the old story or open the door to a new one. So I want you to take a moment to really ask yourself, what is one thing I will no longer carry with me? What belief, habit, or fear do I lovingly choose to leave behind? And just as important, what is one thing I am now ready to welcome in? Say it. Write it. Anchor it. Let the universe hear your clarity. If something today struck a chord deep in your soul, if you felt a moment of truth rise like a quiet yes in your chest, and let it pass without honoring it. Comment below, my 3 divine gifts have arrived. Let that be your declaration. Not just to me, or to this community, but to yourself. Because when you affirm your readiness, the universe meets you halfway. And if you believe this message can bring light to someone else's journey, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video. Subscribe to this space, Eternal Mindfulness, where your spirit is always welcome, and where every message is crafted to guide you home to who you truly are. Share it with someone who may need it. Sometimes the smallest ripple of inspiration becomes the turning point in another soul's storm. Remember, Leo, the universe is not whispering today. It's roaring your name. It's reminding you that your gifts were never lost, they were simply waiting for your permission to shine. And now, with your heart open and your path illuminated, the only question left is, will you choose to rise? Until next time, keep walking boldly in your truth, and never forget, you are not alone in this. You are being guided, you are being supported, and yes, your light is needed now more than ever.